I took NROTC in high school, which at that time during the war, it was pretty much required, and preparation for the service.
What does that mean? What does that teach?
Reserve Officer Training Corps,
Oh,
ROTC.
and that was in high school?
High school.
Oh.
And when I was in my senior year, I was, I don't know, we took tests. I guess we took a test for this. This was Naval ROTC. And I got a good enough grade in that to go into what was called the B-12 program, which was a pretty big deal. And it was wonderful to have the Navy send you all the way through college and give you $50 a month besides.
That's nice.
Nice. Really, although most of the young guys at the time were more like me, and they were, you know, very gung-ho with the war, wanting to hurry up and get out there and do something, you know, and be somebody and so forth. But after it was all over with, we realized how fortunate we were.
Yeah.
As I got my degree and my commission in October of 1945, and went to Japan. And I got
you
I
was
an ensign.
Ensign.
Yeah. Went to Japan and was there. I think it was right around between Christmas and New Year's, and that's when I looked at my brother, Ray, and he was.
But the war was over by that time.
It was over in August, and I was over there in November. And he had already been aboard ship out in that area. It turned out his group was a kind of a backup for one of the islands that was invaded. He didn't go in, so it was very fortunate.
Oh, yes.
But it was really wonderful to see him in the holidays over there, and we were able to get together a few times. We just went walking and shopping around one time, and another time I went out. I was by myself, and I took their train out. I was just, I mean, pretty crazy, because these people didn't have too much of a good thought for us taking over.
And where were you in Japan?
Mostly around Tokyo Harbor, Sasebo. Sasebo was one of the harbors. It's a big bay. There, Big Bay was a lot of their naval fleet was there.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Moses, come on.
I was able to spend a day or two at Nagasaki and see the damage that the atom bomb had done.
Mm-hmm.
I flew over, I forget which was the other city that was bombed. I flew over that one, got a little idea from looking at it from the air, but at the time it really didn't mean that much to me. Just a kid, 20 years old, I guess, something like that.
How many years of college had you had already? You had it in South Carolina? In naval school? Or
I had,
Moses.
let's see, 7 semesters, I think.
Oh.
It went all straight through. Summer.
Yeah.
Didn't make any difference whether it was summer or winter.
So you graduated then?
I got a degree in naval science.
Okay.
Very important. Naval science.
Well, I was going to ask you also, back to Japan, when the Second World War,
Yes.
after that ended, and you were there, and your experiences there and stuff that you saw and did.
Well, getting out away from the base, of course, that's when you get into different circumstances, you know, where you're surrounded by natives when you're around the base. And my job, my first assignment or tour or whatever it is, after I got there, was harbor patrol. And we were stationed on an LST ship, which is a landing ship personnel or something like that. And that's where we were living. and there were 4 officers. We had 3 3-hour shifts,
Shifts.
shifts, and then you had a shift off, an extra shift off. I can't remember exactly, but anyway, our job was to keep traffic off the water at night. Basically, it was just night. Daytime, there was so much traffic out there. It was just night. So that was our big assignment there, to do that. One night, we saw a boat out there. This was like, there's maybe 4 seamen and an officer. You know. And so we saw this boat, and I had the guy who was at the helm was trying his best to find this. I mean, we saw it and then disappeared. We lost track of it.
So you were in a boat trying to find the ships that were out there?
No, the ships were anchored out there, but we were trying to keep boats off the water. And I remember while we were chasing him, I shot my pistol in the air, and after that I thought, oh my, what have I done? I hope nobody gets hurt. Said, well, what goes up must come down.
Well, these were Japanese that you were?
This guy, one guy, he was pretty, I don't know how old he was. He looked old. I would guess he was probably in his 60s. The poor guy was scared to death. Didn't know what to do. I really mixed these 2 stories. The one with the Japanese guy, and then this other boat, which evidently somehow got tied up with a ship out there, and we lost him.
Oh, okay.
But this guy was he was a nervous wreck. He didn't know, of course you couldn't communicate really well with him. But we took him to one of the ships that was close by at a brig, and we assigned him to the brig. That was part of our fun games out there. But I mean, they accomplished what they were after, keeping traffic off the water by doing that. But that was what my job was at first. And then after that, I went to Okinawa, I think, and picked up a ship. Was assigned to a ship in Okinawa, and I flew there on a landing. What do you call it? Anyway, a ship that lands, an airplane that lands on the water.
Hydroplane?
PBM.
Okay.
Called a PBM then, and it was very, it was quite interesting to fly in one of these great big things. This is like a big boat on it, and you can land it on the water or take off on the water. And so they landed in the bay at Okinawa, and I had got transportation over to the ship, and I was only on that ship a pretty short period of time, a couple of months before it had orders to go back to the States. And so I got transferred from that one to another mine. These last 2 are minesweepers, and I got assigned to another minesweeper. Now we didn't do the minesweeping. The Japanese were to do the minesweeping.
That's right. I remember you said that.
We were to track them, because we had the maps, their maps, which showed where they had planted mines, and they were supposed to be doing the job of cleaning them out. So, and one time, even though we weren't doing that, our sister ship, which was the same size, it's a 220-foot minesweeper. Red Start was one of them, and the Toei was another, named after birds, I think, these minesweepers. But that other sister ship of ours did hit a mine in the course of its duty, and I don't remember how many people were injured. But so even though they weren't doing the minesweeping, it was still kind of dangerous.
Yeah. Yeah.
And being the least senior officer, I got all the junkie jobs.
Well, you were ensign. That's pretty high up.
That's about as low as you can get. as an officer.
In your yearbook, someone said they thought you'd make admiral.
Oh yeah. Well, I didn't quite make it.
You didn't make it a lifetime.
One of my classmates, though, retired as a captain, which is,
Uh-huh. So you've got junky jobs, huh?
well, like somebody has to take care of food, getting food, and there are times when, I mean, the one category of food that seemed to be the worst of all is called boiling and stewing beef. And most people didn't care much for that. But I remember we had one ship that was going back, and they said, you know, they wanted what kind of provisions we had because they were short, you know. We sent them boiling and stewing beef.
You probably laughed about that a lot.
Yeah. The guy who was a captain of this LST had a little thing going with the Japanese there in the town. Cigarettes were like a medium of exchange there, just like every place in the world was, you know. I mean, that was very valuable. You could do anything with cigarettes. So he would go into the bank, one of the banks there, and I don't know how he arranged it all, but he would sell cigarettes. Cigarettes were then 50 cents a carton.
Wow.
Like 5 cents a pack. I know.
Uh-huh. Oh, okay. It's carton. I see what you mean.
Yeah, 10 packs in a carton.
Okay. Oh.
So this one day, he wanted to know if I wanted to go in with him. I can't remember how many people were going in, but afterwards I was a little scared because I thought he probably just wants everybody to get involved in this thing at least once, so they wouldn't tell anybody else, you know, because I'm sure, you know, what we were doing wasn't too legal.
Black market.
But he would take he had these big winter overalls on, Navy issue, and he had cartons of cigarettes all over him, it seems like.
And was he keeping the money himself?
Oh, yeah.
And
Well, he had to pay for them.
But then what about the people that went with him? They didn't get anything?
Yeah, they got what they took too, I guess. I don't remember exactly what happened, but I'm sure that was it. But he had quite a little thing going there.
I guess.
But he'd just buy, I mean, another one of my duties was the ship's store, you know, where the men can come and buy things, whether it be candy or cigarettes or, you know, whatever else, to try to keep people happy.
Oh, the battery's doing well.
Battery's doing okay?
Yeah.
Did better than I am, maybe.
Oh, no, you did great.
But then we had stopped for 2 nights at Nagasaki, and they had a whole deal of old swords they were giving away, and just a lot of things you could get. I mean, these things were all just given away. I mean, somebody, I don't know how they collected all of them, but they probably just asked the people to get rid of their weapons. Whatever they were.
Yeah.
And I went for a walk and to a place where you could see where where the atom bomb had affected it. And basically, you know, we didn't do much more than that. And it wasn't too long after that, another couple of months or 3 months, that we started back for the States. And stopped at Hawaii again, each way. Hawaii, we stopped.
Well, you bought some things in Japan, too, that you brought home.
Yes. I bought some little dishes.
I have a cup and saucer. It says Occupied Japan, made in Occupied Japan.
Is that right?
Yes, I do.
Well, anyway, when I bought these ones like in by that window there, this was at a pottery shop, and it had, you know, very little available to buy because they hadn't been making pottery, I don't think, for a long time, probably. Although there were still people there trying to keep this thing going. And that's where I bought that little pottery shop.
That's
I wish I'd bought more things.
Oh.
You know, it would have been, but everybody, I guess, did it after the fact. Wish they'd done
Yeah,
something different.
I'm sure.
There were some people that were trying to get home with guns. Like we had on our ship one of the 45 caliber pistols was missing, and the captain was very unhappy about that. So he really clamped down and searched. People searched and everything. Finally, it showed up in a little room, the aft part of the ship. Finally, it showed up.
They never caught the person then?
Didn't know who it was.
Okay.
I don't think they cared so much.
They just wanted it.
They didn't want that loose.
Yeah. Huh.
Let's see.
So on the way home you stopped in Hawaii, you said?
Mm-hmm. On the way over there, I took a ship, which was a ship that had been converted to a carrier, a small carrier. And that was over Thanksgiving. And they had a wonderful Thanksgiving meal. Wonderful. I still have the menu.
Oh, I think I've seen it.
Trouble was I was deathly sick.
Seasick?
I couldn't eat anything. And that turned out to be the story. Every time I took off in a ship, for the first 3 days I was sick. After that I was okay.
Kind of hard being in the Navy and being seasick,
Yeah.
isn't it?
But other people were that way too.
I'm sure. You were going to say something about stopping on the way back.
On Hawaii?
Hawaii and then Panama.
Oh, well, yeah. We came back by Hawaii and San Diego. And we were in San Diego a few days. And then we went down the coast and through the Panama Canal. And just like a lot of other things, you know, I really didn't really fully appreciate or try to find out more about things and how they worked and so forth. We stopped on the Atlantic side, tied up for, I don't know, just a few days. And I bought a suitcase-like deal, leather. Leather was about that thick, and it was formed, and it wasn't bent. And I had it in the basement there in Pekin for years and years. I don't know whatever happened to it.
I wonder.
It wasn't really very practical because it wouldn't straighten out. You know, it wasn't no flexibility whatsoever. But it was a souvenir anyway.
From
This was on at the entrance to the Panama Canal.
Okay.
On the Atlantic side. We came from the other way, but it was still, I forget, there's a town on both sides of the canal. Fairly familiar sounding, but I can't think of it. But Panama Canal is very interesting. I enjoyed that.
Okay.
We came up from the Panama Canal to Charleston, South Carolina. There's a naval base there. And I was there for, probably 3 months, something like that. And it's one thing I remember, is that when I was on duty one day, some of the guys, seamen, petty officers or whatever they were, came up to me and they sort of invited me to have a boxing match with their friend. And this guy weighed about 215 pounds. They said he had played pro football, and I weighed probably 160.
Why did they pick on you?
Well, probably because I was an officer, I imagine.
Oh.
could I do? You know.
What could you do?
Fortunately, he didn't know how to box very well, but I couldn't hurt him. But I was able to stay away from him and got through it. And I think the guys probably respected me for that. They knew that I was a mismatch there.
Yeah.
But I was glad to get through that. That's one of my experiences.
No winners, huh? But so was it for money or just kind of just to do it?
Oh no, just exercise. There's things to do whenever they're on ship.
Okay.
You know, we're tied up for a while and they just need something to keep them occupied. And they thought that would be pretty good, I guess.
Yeah.
And I wasn't much of a boxer, but we took boxing in our training.
Oh.
We had some boxing. And
so you learned some moves and some things like that.
Just keep punching, just keep them off balance and so forth. Stay away from that glove hand coming at you.
Yeah, yeah, good.